Should ideally, but both parties, I think, ought to be consumers' parties. But too often, I think you see the Conservatives siding with business interests on issues around competition in particular, rather than recognising the huge benefits to consumers of lower prices.
Yeah.
We had this in tariffs, thousands of dollars in the pockets of the typical Australian household as a result of tariff cuts, and we've seen it in the competition reforms of the 90s.
But can you be pro-business and pro-labour?
Absolutely, but I think it's recognising that you're supporting business interests in order not to support an individual firm, but to support an overall competitive system.
And I guess one way of thinking it is a means to an end, that you're not simply supporting the business because they might support you through a donation or get their members, organised to vote for you, which, by the way, very rarely happens. A lot of talk, but not a lot of action. But I suppose that there is a difference between supporting businesses who want you as a political party to protect them from competition, and on the other hand, supporting competition. And if businesses are able to handle that competition and thrive in it, well, you're really supporting them too on the way through.
Absolutely. And always recognising that if you truly believe in innovation, then you're likely to be holding innovation back if you support an industry that isn't viable, and because you thereby prevent the capital and the labour from that industry into flowing into new entrepreneurial enterprises.
Well, I did see a remark from the new small business minister who said, well, if there's a bit more protection, there'd be some more money for those businesses, then they would innovate. There's another economist called Joseph Schumpeter who didn't think that was the way to go.
Do you think I should introduce Bruce Bilson to Joseph Schumpeter at some stage?
Is Joseph still around? Well, he's certainly got a couple of books. Yeah.
Exactly. I could just bring in one of the creative destruction tomes into the chamber and casually sort of wave it at.
But the argument here is that the competition blowtorch actually forces businesses to innovate, and if they're not innovating, they'd be looking over their shoulder saying, well, someone else is picking up the latest technology, and if I don't, I die.
That's absolutely right. And you look at really competitive industries at times of big structural change, steam at the end of the 19th century, high tech at the end of the 20th century, and actually the returns, if you're investing in either of those industries, aren't supernormal. There aren't supernormal profits being made. They're innovative despite the fact that they're not sitting around enjoying big fat profits. In fact, a lot of these companies are going to the wall. Yeah.
So if you keep them lean, or you create an environment where they're lean and frankly a bit mean in the sense that they have to jostle and compete against each other, then the consumer is more likely to win. That's the proposition, isn't it?
I mean, I do worry a lot about innovation, Craig, but I don't think that it's best achieved at the expense of the consumer. I think it has to do with improving the quality and quantity of the education system, maybe something around our innovation culture, the sort of startup nation ideas of Silicon Valley and Tel Aviv, I think perhaps have something to teach us.
And it's been said to me by some wise people in business, including a Tasmanian cheesemaker at the 2020 Vision Forum way back in 2008, I think it was, that Australians need to get used to the idea of failure, because you can learn more out of failure than from success. And that's really the Silicon Valley experience, isn't it? That the community understands that lots of things will be tried, lots of things will fail, but 1 out of 10 or 1 out of 100 will spectacularly succeed.
Exactly. And this